What is going on, everyone? It is Dan at TechMarketer with another weekly newsletter for you here. I figured I would hit you with kind of an easy one here. We sort of talked about this a little bit about a month or so ago, but I guess I figured I preached at you guys a little too much on the last week. So I'll give you a nice, easy one here to work with. So one question that I saw pop up in the AgencyZoom Facebook group was pertaining to EZLynx, and this comes up a lot. I've heard this over the last several years, many times, and it's how do I compare data that's in EZLynx to AgencyZoom when they don't talk to each other, right? Like I want to make a note when a note happens in AgencyZoom, I want to log as a note in EZLynx, or vice versa. You're very limited with the data that you can get out of EZLynx and their Zapier integration, right? Like everybody knows date of birth, they're going to give you month and day. That's all you get. You don't get year. Sometimes you don't get email addresses, you don't get addresses, anything like that. So what I always suggest to people, and this goes back to what I talked about probably a month or two ago about creating a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet of all of your client information after you make a sale, right? And this kind of plays into that, right? So I've got some dummy data here. Essentially, what happens is, a new policy is sold in AgencyZoom. It's looking up to see if this person exists. If they don't, then it's going to create a row. Now, what also happens is if you have a step in here where it's creating them inside of EZLynx, you're going to get that EZLynx applicant ID, right? That's their database ID or whatever you want to call it. You can add that to this sheet, right? You can look up this email, you can look up this, the UID that AgencyZoom uses, or the internal ID that Better Agency, PipeDrive, HubSpot, whatever they use, and then add that as a column here, right? So now I've got my EZLynx applicant ID. So if I want to say, okay, a note happened in EZLynx, I want it to log inside of AgencyZoom. Trigger that zap, note happens. I'm not going to get all that information out of EZLynx, like specifically email address. They're very bad about not sending that out because they're very protective of the PII. So now all I have to do, I will get this applicant ID and say, okay, let's go look at this, trigger, note happens. Next action step, I'm going to look up inside of this sheet and find this applicant ID. That's going to give me all of this row of information. So now I have the name, the customer type, contact information, address, policy information, anything that I need is all going to be right here now. And now I can go ahead and create that note inside of AgencyZoom or inside of Better Agency or inside of PipeDrive or InsuredMine or wherever it is that you're putting that note, or you want that secondary action to happen. So again, this is just another step and another, I guess, point in favor of having your own quote unquote database of information. And it doesn't have to be Excel. It can be Airtables if you want it to get a little bit, more complex or less complex. Like I said, you can use Google Sheets or you can use Microsoft Excel, and they are perfectly fine. Now, I will talk about in future videos how you can also kind of use that for renewals and how you can kind of do some cool stuff with renewal premium there, as well as reporting. But for the sake of just having your own database, it is incredibly invaluable. Not even database, spreadsheet with all of your information on it is incredibly invaluable. That way you are not limited by whatever information you get from Zapier. Like I said, this is mostly going to go for our EZLynx folks here, but this works for NowCerts and HawkSoft and Applied and anything else, QQ, AMS 360, whatever, where you can send this data into this sheet. And now you have a master lookup table, essentially, is what you're going to look at this as. So I hope that is helpful, and I will talk with you all next week. Have a great week.